I watched every One Piece movie, every one of them. That's over 1,200 minutes of content, or 20 hours. It's a lot of One Piece. Now watch them all for this video, so you better subscribe, and let's get into the video. One Piece movie tier list. So I have them in order here. There are a couple missing. It's the episode of Luffy and 3D2I. We'll talk about them at the very end. Minor movie spoils and general story spoils. Be careful. Starting off in the first movie ever, just called One Piece the movie. I think this movie's really good. It was really hard for me to find. It was broken up into 1 minute and 50-second parts, and it was like 28 of those, but I still found myself enjoying it. It's like the core principles of One Piece, right? Where they go on an adventure to find treasure, and then they hear about a legendary pirate, then they fight against a strong pirate with a good devil fruit, and that's the whole premise of the movie. Favorite thing about the movie is seeing like the Oden guy not really have any faith in Luffy whatsoever, and then he sees Luffy actually like do stuff, and then he's like, oh, this guy's crazy. This guy might actually be the king of the pirates. What? It is like, you know, the whole Mihawk power. But he was like, I mean, Luffy's best power is that he has the ability to rally people and has the power to bring people together and gather people. And so, you know, seeing like little bits and pieces of this in the 2000 film, I love it. I really like the original crew. You know, you have Usopp, Zoro, and Luffy and Nami, and that's the whole crew. We don't even have Sanji yet. So it's a really cool power dynamic where there's only really two fighters in the crew. It's Luffy and Zoro. So when they go up into a crew against a crew that has you know, their main guy and a right-hand man, it was kind of perfect choreography, right? And most of the movie, you don't even see fighting. And then the actual fighting is only like, you know, a wee bit of the movie, but it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable. I think it only really deserves like B tier because of the how good the really good movies are. Anyway, next we have the second movie, which is Clockwork Tower. This one was cool. It did a really good job of like island building where, you know, it's a pretty wacky and wild place on a big island that has a massive tower in the sky. I think all the matchups work really well in this movie. Once again, it's really early. It does have Sanji, but that is the whole crew. It's just the East Blue Saga crew. So, you know, Zoro has a really good scene. Sanji has a really good scene. They go through the tower, you know, fending off from the traps, and that's a really fun time. Like, it's just fast-paced moving with really wacky and wild characters and situations. It's just a fun movie, and at its core, it's a really good One Piece movie. I don't think the opponents are really that cool in this one. That's the only downside. So with all that being said, this movie I'd put it in C tier. Next we have Chopper Drum Kingdom. So this movie has Chopper. Everybody loves Chopper. You can't not love Chopper, right? And he's still strong at this point, right? I mean, he's not like super strong, but like around this point, he's still actually a relevant character, right? Because nowadays he doesn't really do that much fighting. He kind of like more so developed himself into the core of the weakling trio when, you know, around like Ennie's lobby, Chopper was turning into his big demon mode form and just beating up, you know, CP9 members. It was wild. But overall, you know, this movie, like, I don't know, it's not too crazy. The one thing I will say I don't like about this movie is the antagonists. This might be, you know, a bit of a recurring thing. Sometimes the antagonists just suck, and the antagonists just suck in this one. So, I don't know. Chopper Drum Kingdom, I like it. I'm gonna give it D though. Oh, next is Dead End, and this is actually a really good movie. I am gonna just go ahead and throw this one right into B tier. Actually, I think I'm gonna put it in A tier. My favorite thing about this movie is that, well, it takes the core principles of One Piece, where you go to an island and then you have, you know, a really cool enemy with a strong devil fruit, and that's all good. That's all well and good. But they have like a long race. The Straw Hat crew, they go into like this tavern, and then they're like, oh, hey, what is going on? And they're like, hey, it's a race. They're like, oh, we'll sign up for a race. Also, another cool thing that it did was it made the good guy kind of guy, like the character that the crew meets along the way. He does a good job at being cool and stuff without a devil fruit, which is rare at this point in time. Pre-time skip, pre-hockey, characters don't really seem strong without a devil fruit, except like Zoro and Sanji. Other than like CP people that have basically hockey, like it's like the Iron Body, Skywalk, and Finger Pistol and stuff, they're strong. This is like around like Alabasta time, where you go up into Alabasta and every single person in the Baroque works that's like relevant has a devil fruit because they don't have hockey yet. And they do a good job at like making this guy seem like, oh, he can fight, you know, he's like kind of strong and stuff. He doesn't have a devil fruit, but he's still like a relevant guy. Definitely a good one to recommend if you're looking for a pre-time skip movie. It's one of the best pre-time skip movies. Next is Curse Holy Sword. And this was a really interesting movie, but put it like C tier. It did a good job at like showing more of Zoro, but it did a bad job at showing Zoro actually, like in my opinion. So here's the reasoning, because it's kind of weird. The thing that I didn't like about it is Zoro is a super loyal guy, right? He's loyal to Luffy, he's loyal to the Straw Hats. He wasn't on the crew for super long, so I guess there is definitely a point to be made that his loyalty is still to the people he knew before. And I don't know, man, it just seemed weird. It didn't really seem like Zoro was like Zoro in this movie. That being said, the action and stuff was cool, and once again, like the Marine, the swordsman people were actually kind of strong without devil fruits. That's a cool thing. Obviously, they had some like cool swords and stuff, but they are actually just like genuinely a little strong. Next, we have Baron Omatsuri. This is my favorite One Piece movie, probably. Okay, so this is the first one that I'm gonna say it didn't feel like a One Piece movie. But the thing about this movie is it has so many things that diverge from the regular path that One Piece takes. It starts like a normal One Piece movie, right? The crew is like, hey, we're gonna go to this island as a vacation, and then they go there, and then they find there's trials and challenges and stuff as pirates, and then they want to drive the crew apart. Characters like Usopp and Nami that are like this, and they fight in this movie. The antagonist tries to, you know, bring pirate crews on here and then split them up. Really what I'm saying is that the antagonist is actually really cool. And it's cool because at first, when like the opening scene where you, or like the opening part of the island where you actually see Baron, where he's like, you know, really goofy, he has like a little dumb little flower guy on his shoulder, is just like a goofy guy. And then later you can see that he's not. There's so much pain in that guy. The movie gets so dark, and it does such a good job at being at the contrast of light and dark, because the beginning of the movie is just super lighthearted, you know, oh, let's go on vacation, go in, and then there's just like dancing people everywhere, and it's just a fun time. And then you see there's this is a little bit different of a thing. It's not just a resort that we walk into. It's just dark. And then the actual scene at the end, it does a really good job at being very dark, when One Piece as a whole is typically very light, except for like when they actually try to be dark, and then the show gets really dark. Also, let's talk about the animation style. What? They just changed up the animation style and like make it like unique. It feels so unique of a One Piece movie, and that's what gives it that S tier quality to me personally. I love it. This movie is so good. Next is One Piece Movie 7, The Mechanical Castle. This movie does a really solid job at showing the island and the crew and all these, you know, pieces of the puzzle, and then slowly reveals, you know, gives you hints at what could happen throughout the movie, and then actually does the big reveal at the end. It's actually really cool, and the ending fights are actually really good. Like Luffy, it's still pre-time skip and stuff, so Luffy's not like super powerful, but he still does a really good job at using his devil fruit. There's this giant team attack that's really cool, but it deserves B tier because it's not crazy, but it's enjoyable. Post-editing guy here. I was trying to find clips for this like segment, and apparently Luffy uses Gear Second for the first time ever in this movie, and I didn't like catch that. I thought he already like used it, but I guess this is like pre-Enies Lobby, I think. So yeah, that's kind of weird. That's kind of wacky. So maybe this should be moved higher than B. I don't know. Keep that in mind though when you watch this movie. Be like, whoa, what is wild. Next we have the movie Alabasta. I mean, I'm just gonna put this right in the middle, just C tier, because it's just a standard retelling of the arc. It just puts the whole arc into a movie form. It skips a lot of stuff. It skips a lot of the filler. I definitely don't recommend watching this movie over the show episode of Chopper Plus with the Drum Island stuff. This was cool. I'm gonna put this in B tier because this is actually really cool. So it is the retelling of the episode of Chopper, right? The Drum Island saga, but it's different. This is like parallel world, but you have Nico Robin, Frankie, and the Thousand Sunny in this for some reason, right? Because at this point they weren't in the crew, but now you have this other dude as well, Wapple's brother, who's a strong devil fruit user that has a mushroom fruit that uses a really weird style of fighting, and it does a really good job at showing you this dumb, goofy looking character and then making him strong. And that's a One Piece trope that I love. And then we also have an expansion on Wapple. Here, they gave him a little bit more power. The synergy between him and his brother's mushroom fruit, where his brother can give him like this poisonous cloud gas with the mushrooms. But yeah, it's pretty cool seeing like Frankie and Nico Robin at this point in time, like even pre-Dr. Chopper, right? Next, with strong world, and I want to give this movie an S tier so bad because it's really cool. I love Shiki. I think he's so cool, but I have to give it A tier. Don't click off the video. Let me explain. Shiki, really cool, very, very powerful devil fruit, a member of Rock's Pirates crew, and they just let him lose to pre-time skip Luffy. I don't know. I don't know about that one. We already have the common, plot hole-esque ideology where he shouldn't have been able to beat Crocodile. He has hockey. Where was your hockey? It's really enjoyable movie. It's a really enjoyable movie. He was a Rocks pirate. Shouldn't have happened that way. I know that it's not canon, but I know that Shiki is a canon character. I don't know. It's just weird. I really like Shiki. I really like this movie. It does a really good job at being a One Piece world builder, right? You have all these ridiculously strong animals running around in this really beautiful open landscape with all these lush, trees and stuff, this giant world and this giant continent-esque place with multiple floating islands. I just hate that Shiki let me down. Shiki was supposed to be this absurdly strong legendary pirate, and he just, shit the bed. I don't know. Oh, next we have Mugiwara Chase, and I'm just gonna give this a C tier instantly. I really like when they invade the actual marine place, and then Luffy and Zoro are just around beating up every single marine in sight, and they actually do a really good job of making those characters very, very powerful, which they are at this point in time. But I do like this movie. Very fast moving movie. The thing that a lot of Dragon Ball movies do, they build up an enemy, they build up your character, and then they fight, and it's a good job. The other thing that I think is really cool about this movie is the dog. That's right, the dog. So the movie all in all is good. I just can't get past the 3D animation. It's not good to me personally. I'm not a big fan of the animation. Next we got One Piece Film Z, and this movie is good. This movie is good. I'm putting it right into S tier. This movie is amazing. First off, I love Zeph. He's really cool. He's like the marine father, really. He trained Aokiji, and he also trained Kizaru. Kizaru is also in this movie, and I really like those characters, and so I like this movie. I like the admirals, so we get to see the admirals in action. We get to see more Kizaru fighting. We get to see more Aokiji. He doesn't really fight, but he's there, and he's just cool, right? Aokiji is just cool. And then you have Zeph, who is really cool. Also, all the matchups are cool. We got the plant devil fruit guy against Sanji, and that was a cool fight. And then we got the girl that with a really cool fruit that makes people young against Zoro, and that's really cool. That's a really good swords fight. It's just all good fights, and all the characters are really cool, and we get to see more of certain characters like the admirals, and we even get to see the character that trained them, Black Arm Zeph. Oh, it's just so cool. I really, really like this movie. I think it's definitely deserving of S tier. Next we got Film Gold. Film Gold I'm gonna give A tier, but the thing I love about Gold is that it kind of mirrors Dressrosa, right? Where you have this really, really powerful guy that is the controller of all the land, and at first it doesn't seem that malicious. Right from the beginning, you have this giant casino. Obviously, things are going to go bad, right? Because it's a One Piece movie, things are going to go bad. But at first, it just seems like a really happy giant casino land that everybody goes and enjoys, and it's a place that pirates and marines alike can all go because it's an independent island. And it's just really cool that that's how they set it up in the movie. Oh, it's just like Dressrosa. And also, this did a really good job at showing this fruit, this gold fruit, which inherently is not that great of a fruit in my opinion. So you have to have gold around you. You have to have access to gold. So this guy can't conjure gold, but he can control gold. So what he did was he makes a giant palace, a kingdom made entirely of gold. And his crew is pretty cool. The Luck fruit is a really cool devil fruit. The guy that can phase through things is really cool, really good for security. He did a good job at giving each one of his characters in the each one of the higher ups in the crew a good role that actually suits them and suits their devil fruit. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like the antagonist. I think it's good. Next we have Stampede. So instant S for Stampede. I know what you guys are thinking. Oh, this guy just likes new movies. Hey, at least I put Baron Omatsuri at S tier, right? First off, it has a member of the Roger crew. We haven't really heard about that guy yet, but he's a member of Roger crew, which is obviously insane. He's a really strong character. Dude, the one scene where he goes Conqueror's Haki, all the worst generations oh my goodness, this guy's crazy. You know, you have a couple characters like Kid, he's like, oh, let's fight. So then you have Luffy and he's just like, you know, does the... And then you have this really ragtag group. You have Luffy, Boa, Sabo, Smoker, and Buggy. Like, what is this team? What is this squad? Honestly, my favorite thing about the whole movie is seeing the whole worst generation all at once. They're kind of scattered, right? Like, they're all over the place. Everybody's scattered. But in this movie, they're all here. This was like the Smash Ultimate of One Piece movies. Every character is here. I really like Stampede. It's a really good movie. All right, now for the two that we have to post edit. So there they are, and we'll move them up. One Piece episode of Luffy Hand Island. This movie was all right. It was okay. It expanded a little bit on the Shanks Luffy backstory, but it was a lot of repeat stuff. And then we get to meet this wax man who's actually pretty cool, and he met all of these broken people. He met Ace, he met Shanks, he met Rayleigh, he met all these legendary pirates, and it's just like, you're a legendary character now. You met all these legendary characters. Did a really good job, in my opinion, of showing like the world and the impact that some characters can leave on people. I really like that part of it. I'm gonna put it in C tier because honestly, it's a lot of, you know, expanding on the past and things that we've already seen, and it's a lot of things that we already seen. And then the last movie is 3D 2Y. I'm gonna put it right there in B tier. I like this movie. I think it's cool. It does a good job at showing more of like Boa, and you guys know what I mean when I say showing more of Boa. But no, actually though, it shows like Boa actually like doing things, which is cool. We get to see more of Luffy during the time skip. It's just really cool in general. I think it's a good movie in general. B tier feels pretty fair. Post editing guy here, and I forgot Adventures of Nebulandia, and that movie's really cool. My favorite thing personally about that movie was the Sea Stone Island, like the Sea Prism Stone Island. Like that's such a cool, that's like so cool in theory. I don't know, that movie was really cool. I don't remember that movie that much because that was the first One Piece movie I watched. It was a while ago. It's like 2 years ago now. I don't remember that much about it, but I remember it was cool. So I'm gonna just give it B tier. Boom. I think it's fair. That's the movie tier list. That's One Piece movie tier list. And I know I left out a couple episodes. Episode of Skypiea and episode of Nami. They both also kind of just have that same thing as episode of Alabasta. So I'd put those in C tier as well, because they do pretty much the same thing where they're kind of just retelling, but with updated, you know, stuff. What do you guys think? Did I have any of this stuff placed incredibly wrong? If I did, leave a comment. Say, hey, yo, your list sucks. Hey, your list is good. Say one of those. Or don't say anything at all. But you should subscribe.